Hi. Every once in a while, I like to surprise my viewing audience by presenting them with an opportunity to view some of my original work. And in this particular instance, I'm reading an original essay that I submitted in July 2012 to the Missouri Review for a $5,000 prize in the Jeff E. Smith Editor's Prize Contest for Original Essay. So I'm just going to read the essay and find out if people like it or make any comments on it. And this essay is titled, My Battle Against Cancer. Now I know what it feels like to be a winner. One summer afternoon in July 2012, I flipped on the television and watched bits and pieces of sports, news, and international politics before settling on a broadcast by Cable News Network. America is a strong nation of people, stated President Barack Obama in his recent press conference addressing contemporary political issues ranging from economics to constitutional democracy. His speech touched upon America's response to the economic recession and the federal government's incentive to increase or boost trade, the Federal Reserve's plan to improve the nation's unemployment rate from 8.9%, and the national economic stimulus packages being developed for business toward promoting energy conservation and the utilization of alternative energy sources. Prominent areas for debate and discussion included increasing the availability of U.S. funds for solar power and encouraging further research and development on the hybrid electric engine which General Motors is using in its 40 mile per gallon to 50 mile per gallon automobile, the Chevy Volt. These are all positive steps and evidence that progress is made, according to President Obama in his recent statement to the press on CNN. So anyway, I thought about these ideas and others as I lie there in bed in the PACU Outpatient Surgical Recovery Unit of Northwest Hospital in Baltimore County, watching television and contemplating my outlook in life in general. My respirations varied from 12 to 16 breaths per minute. My heart rate was a steady 125/74 to 135/80, and a nurse nearby administered an intravenous catheter to me with a few more drops of that miracle fluid to speed up my recovery. I had just had a surgical procedure done to remove a benign cyst from my forearm that was sort of like a skin tumor. And the procedure took maybe about an hour and a half in the operating room, and I was in recovery. Earlier in the afternoon, I had an opportunity to watch entertainment show on cable television and read the corresponding entertainment magazine and learned about upcoming movies in the entertainment section. And one of the movies they talked about was Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2, starring Kristen Stewart, which is movie number 4 in the Twilight series, scheduled for release, which was then November 2012. And I read the review about the movie, which is based on a human and now transformed vampiress Bella Cullen, played by Kristen Stewart, and her half-human, half-vampire daughter named Esma, whose father is the enigmatic protagonist and socially conscious vampire Edward Cullen. As the lead female character, Bella, actress Kristen Stewart struggles with the contemporary issues of motherhood and childbirth while expanding upon her cinematic presence from a teen star to that of a more mature film actress. So, in addition to watching the CNN News, I also watched entertainment television and saw a brief summary of the movie and got to learn about it. In the movie, Bella prepares for the challenge of raising a young child whose circumstance in life is to live as a part vampire, part human in the human world. And this world, which is part of Earth, she, as a vampire, develops some supernatural strength and powers. Coincidentally, at the same time, Bella, who's being transformed into a vampire, has a form of female empowerment as her physical strength and mental ability increases as she transforms from a moral, predatory bloodsucker who originally plans to shield the human race from violence and victimization to something else in the movie. In the movie, there's a war going on in the planet as werewolves, vampires, and humans seek to coexist with nature in the modern 21st century. And there is also an internal civil war among competing vampire clans, which is mentioned in this not yet to be released movie. And then to summarize the plot, the Cullens must survive a rite of passage in which the ruling vampire clan of the world, the Volturi, attempt to seek and destroy the upcoming American vampire kinship known as the Cullens in an ongoing battle reminiscent of the U.S. Civil War feud between the Hatfields and McCoys. So, reading the entertainment magazine and watching clips from the movie while I was sitting in a hospital bed in the recovery unit of Northwest Hospital, I began to think about the whole process and think about healthcare and how it related to American politics and entertainment. So the first thought that I had is that of the health of the American citizen being ever important, and does Hollywood lose track of American virtues of strength and economic resilience by showing us a world of vampire fantasy? I'll respond in kind to this. The question number one is, do we need heroes to get us through these tough economic times? And then following this up, does President Obama possess some of the heroic qualities of man? Another question is Kristen Stewart a suitable heroine for a young adult to teenage female audience who is looking toward her as a vision of strength and character? So from this idea, a couple of other thoughts came to mind that I'll sum up really briefly. How is it that people look at entertainment in tough economic times, and does this help the overall morale and feelings of the American people? And I think in many ways the answer is indeed yes, and that it works. The answer to the question number two that I presented is that as I am learning what it is to be a survivor of a benign form of skin cancer, and having made it somewhat successfully through this routine dermatologic surgery, questions come to mind as to, as while you're sitting there and you watch this blood and patch of, skin on your arm, if people walk up to me and say, "What happened to you?" and then I say, quote, "No, I did not get bitten by a female vampire. I just had routine dermatologic surgery." So anyway, so now you know the story. Even people such as myself with olive skin complexion can have problems with the ultraviolet radiation in those exhausting summer days of 90-degree temperature and high UV rays. So my advice is that you limit your exposure to strong sunlight and take extra precautions when going outdoors. And that means you can have fun, but you just have to assume reasonable precautions, follow standard medical recommendations about excessive exposure to sunlight and UV rays, and the recommendation is to use SPF 30 sunscreen and take care not to overheat or leave yourself baking in the sun for extended periods of time. And, you know, as in Maryland, the big issue is breast cancer and melanoma, and if there is such a thing as a smaller benign skin cancer. So you get the picture. Early intervention is the best policy, and I'm hoping that my simple surgical procedure does the job and I've gotten this thing beaten. And mentally and emotionally it takes its toll. There are a lot of strong people who have survived all types of surgical procedures and cancers worse than mine, and the battle is an ongoing one. So my question in conclusion is, are you a winner?